So this video is all about the movement speed attachments inside Warzone for the Cold War weapons. Now recently we did get a nerf to the Raider stock, the SAS combat stock, and some of the other attachments for the Cold War guns. So in this video we're going to be breaking that all down. If you enjoy weapon stat breakdowns, weapon comparisons, and overall tips and tricks for Warzone, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers. And also click that link in the description and subscribe to our second channel. We do post extra content over there as well. But like I said, this video is all about the movement attachments that are in the game. So we did test 4 different guns here. We tested 2 SMGs and we tested 2 assault rifles. So we tested the PPSH, the BULLFROG, the XM4 and the FARA. And the attachments we tested for all of these guns are very similar. So for the stocks, we tested the last 2 stocks. So the SAS combat and the Raider stock. They are named different for different guns. But then we also tested the laser attachments as well. So we tested the mounted flashlight as well as a Tiger Team spotlight. Then we also tested the underbarrel attachments, and the main ones we tested here were the infiltrator grip, or the SMG equivalent, and the bruiser grip. So we tested all of these attachments for their respective stats, and I do want to quickly start with some really interesting results that we found. So first of all, the bruiser grip doesn't really help all that much with hipfire accuracy. I know this is not based around movement, and we do have an example of this in our PPSH video, which I'll link at the end of this video if you want to see an example of that. But we tested it with the XM4 as well, and we got very similar results. So if you're using the bruiser grip for hipfire accuracy, it doesn't really help that much. The other thing we found out as well is that the mounted flashlight as well as the Tiger Team spotlight actually do help with firing strafing speeds by about 10%. Now that's not stated with the attachment itself, it's like a hidden stat almost, but we've tested it consistently for the PPSH. I can't say for sure for any other weapon that this does help with, but I do know it works with the PPSH, and I can only assume it works for other weapons too. So the first set of attachments I want to talk about are the stock attachments, because I feel like these are the best overall attachments, even still, even though they got their nerf. And what you'll see is on screen just now, you'll see the base weapon movement on the left, then you'll have the PKM/SAS combat stock down the center, then the Raider stock or the skeletal stock on the very right. And the guns are listed as below: XM4, FARA, PPSH, and BULLFROG. And what we tested here was the ADS movement speed without firing and moving forward. And then we tested the firing strafe speed moving left to right, strafing. So just as an example, I'll quickly go over the XM4. So the ADS movement speed without firing is 2.58 meters per second. Then if you equipped the PKM stock, that bumps up to 3.48 meters per second. And then if you use the Raider stock, it goes to 3.50 meters per second. The firing strafe speed for the base XM4 is 2.15 meters per second. The firing strafe speed for the SAS combat stock is 3.16 meters per second. And then for the Raider stock is 3.20 meters per second. One thing I do want to mention when it comes to overall strafing speeds, the PKM stock or the SAS combat stock is actually the best for SMGs, whereas the Raider stock or the skeletal stock is the best for assault rifles. Now all those numbers might be confusing, but I did just leave them there so you can see that we did do some testing on all of these weapons. And the averages when you equip any stock, so this is the average combining the SAS combat stock and the Raider stock. So for the assault rifles, your ADS movement speed gets a bonus of 38%, which is huge. Your firing strafe speeds get a bonus of 49%, which is even more. So you can move insanely quick once you equip these stock attachments. The bonus is not as significant with an SMG though, because they already move relatively quick anyway. So the bonus for ADS movement on SMGs is 10%, and then firing strafe speeds is 20%. So as you can see, equipping a stock attachment on your SMG as well as your assault rifle gives you some huge bonuses to movement overall, and I highly recommend you use a stock attachment still, even though it's been nerfed. The next set of attachments we tested was a laser flashlight. So this is the mounted flashlight as well as the Tiger Team spotlight. And what they state in game is that they give you movement speed bonuses as well as aim walking movement speed bonuses. So on screen just now, you will see the stats once again for all 4 of the weapons, with the base weapon being on the very left, the mounted flashlight being down the middle, and the Tiger Team spotlight on the very right. So the ADS movement speed is basically moving forward whilst ADS, and then the movement speed, general movement speed. So like I said, when it comes to the XM4 as an example, once again, the ADS movement speed is 2.58 meters per second for the base weapon, and then when you equip the mounted flashlight or the Tiger Team Spotlight, you get an ADS movement speed of 2.6 meters per second, so it's not a huge bonus there, as you can already see. Then for overall movement speed, the base movement speed for the XM4 is 4.7 meters per second, and then the movement speed does get a slight increase of 4.88 meters per second with the mounted flashlight, and the Tiger Team Spotlight does boost it up to 5 meters per second. And you can see a very similar case with every single other weapon on screen just now as well. And again, if all these numbers are too confusing for you, what we did was we calculated the averages once again, and if you equip any flashlight on an assault rifle, your movement speed whilst ADS is going to increase by about 4%, which is not a significant enough increase in my opinion. And then your overall movement speed is increased by about 5%. So again, you're not getting huge bonuses to movement speeds with these two flashlight attachments. Then for SMGs, again, the ADS movement speed is increased by 5%, and the overall movement speed is increased by 3%. So overall, the laser attachments or the flashlight attachments don't really do much when it comes to overall movement. Now, this was pretty surprising to me because I thought when I equipped the Tiger Team Spotlight on the PPSH, I was moving around much quicker than I usually do, because it does help with strafe speeds, as I found out in a previous video. So it could actually be helping with tactical sprint to fire speeds, but we never actually tested that because it's not a stat that it says it helps with in game. The last set of attachments we tested was the Underbarrel attachments, and we tested the Infiltrator grip as well as the Bruiser grip for the assault rifles. Then for the SMGs, it's actually slightly different because with the Red Cell 4 grip, it actually states it hurts your overall movement speed, but gives you a bonus to sprinting move speed. So I wanted to test how it affects movement speed, not just the sprinting speed. And like I said, the hipfire accuracy doesn't really benefit all that much with either the Red Cell 4 grip or the Bruiser grip. That's something I think they should look into to make these attachments a bit more viable. So again, I'll give the XM4 as an example here. So the movement speed for the base weapon is 4.7 meters per second. And then the Infiltrator grip as well as the Bruiser grip both give a movement speed of 4.96 meters per second. But then looking at the PPSH, for example, the movement speed is 5.04 meters per second. And then the movement speed does slow down with that Red Cell 4 grip to 4.96 meters per second. And then if you do use the Bruiser grip, it then increases to 5.16 meters per second. So like I said, just keep in mind that the Red Cell 4 grip does hurt your overall movement speed. And then, like I said, we also calculated averages, but this time with the SMGs, we missed out the Red Cell 4 grip because it hurts your movement speed, and we don't want that to be taken into consideration for this overall calculation because we're looking at what attachments help movement speed. So when it comes to assault rifles, if you're using the Infiltrator grip or the Bruiser grip, they're going to give you about a 6% increase to overall movement. But then if you use the Bruiser grip on the SMGs, it gives you a 2% increase to overall movement. So now that we've done all the testing, what can we take away from this? So the stock attachments overall are great options. So I'd still recommend using a stock attachment for your SMGs or assault rifles, especially if you're going to be using them at close range and you want that faster strafing speed. I think that's really important. On top of that, the flashlight attachments don't really help all that much with overall movement. They do help a little bit with aim walking movement speed, but then they also help with strafing speeds whilst firing as well. So like I said, it could be a decent enough attachment to still use for that 10% bonus in strafe speeds. And then lastly, the Underbarrel attachments I would stay away from. I don't really think they help all that much with movement. And on top of that, they don't really help all that much with hip fire accuracy either. Now, of course, we haven't tested every single Cold War weapon, but hopefully this gives you an idea of what the attachments actually do inside the game to give you a better idea of what kind of class setups you can build. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and click that link in the description and subscribe to our second channel, and thank you very much for watching.